over to the Middle East, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is pushing back against global criticism over Gaza's humanitarian crisis, urging the United Nations to stop blaming his government. During a visit to an airbase, Netanyahu said Israel has opened official secure routes for aid, adding there will be no more excuses. Meanwhile, the World Food Programme says it has enough supplies en route to feed all of Gaza for nearly 3 months and hopes the new humanitarian pauses will allow a surge in food deliveries. On the other hand, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz spoke to Netanyahu by phone, urging him to deliver aid immediately and to work towards an immediate ceasefire, calling the humanitarian situation in Gaza catastrophic. We're now joined by Keith Vaz, who is a former UK minister. He joins us live from London. Keith, pleasure to have you on the programme as always. Keith, a huge day in regard to developments here coming out of this region. Benjamin Netanyahu has told the UN now that to stop blaming his government for the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. How much do you think of that? How much do you think is for the reason that Israel is letting in aid here? Is because of all the photos we've seen coming out of the Gaza Strip? Is because of all these Western governments adding increased pressure on its ally?
Good afternoon, Thomas from London. Well, let's see. The only reason why Benjamin Netanyahu has said this is because of the international condemnation as to the actions that he and his government has taken to stop aid going into Gaza. So he's not doing everyone a big favor. He is actually listening for the first time to public opinion and to the opinion of his allies, because all these governments, the Germans, the British, the French, and everyone else, they've been supporting Israel. So when your closest allies start turning against you, you have to do something. It is a catastrophe what's happening. Thousands of people, men, women, and children have died. Let us see what the result of what he is doing has on the people of Gaza. This should always have been an operation run by the UN. This should never have been an operation controlled by the Israeli government. So as well as saying, don't blame us, which is the way in which Israel normally deals with these situations, I think what he has to do is hand over the mechanics, the operation of what is going on, to the UN. That is the best way of proceeding in this very, very agonizingly difficult situation. I don't think anyone who has seen the footage on television of what is happening in Gaza can feel anything but absolute shame that it's taken so long for the Israeli government to act. But I think it's right that governments such as the Germans, the British, the French are moving swiftly to say to Israel, you better stop and you better let the aid in. Now it should be up to the UN to run this.
Keith, that follows quite well into my next question. How do you view the international community's, mainly Western allies' response to this to this crisis? You mentioned that the UK have acted swiftly there. A lot of people would disagree with you in that statement. Do you think that they have perhaps been too late? How have you assessed how Israel's closest allies in the West have reacted to the photos we've all seen, to the reports from the UN? How do you analyse this?
Well, I apologise to your viewers and to you, Thomas, if I have been interpreted as saying they acted quickly. No. They've acted quickly once they've seen these pictures. They have not acted quickly in the last year to try and come to some kind of an arrangement. A ceasefire could have been arranged if the members of the Security Council, and that includes Britain and France, acted more swiftly to make sure that something has been done. So the speed is only because of the footage, not because they could have done this much earlier, much earlier. So many people have died because of the failure of the international community to act. And I'm afraid the United Nations has proved to be an organization that just cannot operate, whether it's here in the Middle East, whether it's Thailand versus Cambodia. This is what the UN was supposed to be doing. That's why it was supposed to be set up, to try and stop catastrophes of this kind. So I'm glad everyone is now putting pressure on the Israeli government. It should have been done much, much sooner. I can remember the statement of my own Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, when he said that Israel was entitled to react in any way they could in self-defense. This was 2 years ago. This is way above what self-defense is. This is allowing the killing of innocent people. And that is why it is essential that the ceasefire happens, that the gates are opened, and that aid is allowed to get in immediately, not under the control of the Israeli government, but under the control of the UN. The UN is the only organization that should be deputed to deal with this situation. All these governments that have supported Israel over the last 2 years should realize that they should have acted sooner. And at least let's see what's going to happen. I'm afraid, as with most of the things in the Middle East, we do have to wait and see what happens before judging how honorable the Israeli government is going to be. I hope they will be honorable, what they've said, but let us see what happens over the next 24 hours, because the people of Gaza are right at the end. They cannot wait beyond 24 hours.
Keith Vaz, thank you very much for joining us. Pleasure to have you on the programme, as always. We now move over to Europe next, where Russian